On today's episode of Hawaii's Best, I am answering your top questions on how to travel to Hawaii right now through the state's Safe Travels program. I'm going to give you 5 steps on how to do that and break down each step. So stay tuned. This is an important one. A lot of stuff to cover, but it's going to be worth it if you are dreaming of traveling to Hawaii anytime soon. So let's go.
Welcome to Hawaii's Best Travel Podcast, where we help you prepare for your next trip to Hawaii. Discover the experiences, businesses, and stories that make Hawaii the Aloha state. And now, your host, Bryan Murphy.
Aloha and welcome to episode 50. Oh my goodness, 50 of Hawaii's Best. So pumped for this one, and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today at Hawaii's Best. We help prepare you for your next trip to Hawaii. I'm your host, Bryan Murphy, the owner of Hawaii's Best. And on this podcast and our blog, we offer resources and local and cultural insights so that you can get the most out of your stay on the islands. Today's episode is brought to you by Shaka Guide. Shaka Guide is a tour guide right on your smartphone. Shaka Guide uses GPS to guide you to interesting places along the way. Automatic audio tours with turn-by-turn directions means all you need to do is turn on the tour and drive. Shaka Guide's self-guided tours give you the freedom to explore the beautiful Hawaiian islands and know where to stop and what to do. So go to hawaiisbesttravel.com/Shaka and download that today. So I have a question for you. If you were able to travel to Hawaii safely right now, would you go? And probably for the majority of you, the answer would be yes, with an exclamation point. And for some of you, maybe right now is not the right time, and that is okay. I don't want you to feel pressure to have to want to go to Hawaii right now. And that is definitely a personal choice. But on this episode, I want to break down how to do that and how to do that responsibly if you do want to travel to Hawaii anytime soon. And I say anytime soon, probably for the remainder of 2021. Now, as of right now, Hawaii is about 4 months into reopening to trans-Pacific travel again. And the gatekeeper into Hawaii has been the state's Safe Travels program. And that's what we're going to be breaking down on today's episode, is how to navigate the Safe Travels program and the different steps to do that. As with implementing any new program at scale, especially this type of scale, it has had its issues and it's had tons of questions. And I don't even think that we're going to be able to answer all those questions today, because there's a lot of nuances to your specific situation. I want to share with you what our personal experience was and any tips that we can offer. And also I want to give you some of the frequently asked questions that we've been given. And I've been able to talk with people and do some research. And I want to give you those answers today. But some of those issues that were initially there a few months ago have been, for the most part, smoothed out. However, there is still quite a bit of confusion and questions about how to travel to Hawaii right now and how to avoid the 10-day quarantine. So let's go ahead and dive in and unpack the 5 steps to travel to Hawaii safely. All right, step number 1 is probably no surprise, but you need to select a COVID test option. Now, one of the probably most confusing things at first when Safe Travels was launched was people were getting tested at reputable test sites, but they weren't approved by the state of Hawaii. And I know that can be confusing, but the COVID test has to be approved by one of Hawaii's approved testing sites. From the get-go, I've been, probably reiterating this website probably way too many times, but I can't go enough without saying, go to hawaiicovid19.com/travel. And right there, you'll find all the information, also Hawaii's approved testing sites. In order to avoid a 10-day quarantine, you're going to need to first test negative to COVID-19. Now, I want to share with you what our experience was traveling from Southern California. We traveled on Hawaiian Airlines. That's who we fly with, and we love them and have had great experience with Hawaiian Air. And Hawaiian Airlines has a partnership with a testing facility called The Vault. The Vault is an at-home test. So basically, you buy the kit, they send you the kit, you Zoom call, and you spit in the tube, and you send it back. And then they test it, and you get your test results within 48 hours. And with The Vault, you need to order one test per person. It's important to know that everyone needs their own email address, even your children. We have 3 kids, ages 5 to 11. All of them had to test. Each one of them needed to get set up with their own email account because that is how they, track the test, and that's how they sent the test results. So you need to have that set up even for your kids. Whomever you go with, as far as your testing, obviously your state-approved test site, you want to make sure and you confirm that your test provider can meet the 72-hour time frame for trans-Pacific travel, basically traveling from the mainland of the U.S. to Hawaii. Step 2 probably could have been lumped in with step 1, but it's important to talk about because this has left some people stranded and had to return back to their place of departure. And that is to take the test no more than 72 hours prior to the last leg of departure. So with this one, there's going to need to be some math involved, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is just knowing, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. So it's important to take that in consideration. Let me give you a for instance. So say you're traveling from Florida. Let's say your first flight is leaving Florida at 8 a.m. local time. So that's 8 a.m. Eastern. Your connecting flight is in Los Angeles, California. That flight leaves at 1 p.m. Pacific. So your test needs to be 72 hours prior to the 1 p.m. Pacific flight, because that is the last leg of your departure from Los Angeles to Hawaii. Unfortunately, there have been reports of people who have not taken that into consideration or didn't know that because it can kind of be unclear. So people have been denied because their test was longer than the 72 hours. They didn't take into account their connecting flight being the last leg of their journey. So be sure you take that into consideration because that is super important. Step 3 of 5 is to create an account on the State of Hawaii's Safe Travels website, and that's by going to travel.hawaii.gov. So what you do is first you create an account for each adult. So if there's mom and dad and some kids, mom and dad need to have their own account. And then what we did is we put all of our kids under my account. So you can put minors underneath a parent's account, and then one parent just has their own. So you create the account, and then you input your travel information, your flight number and travel dates and all that good stuff. It's pretty self-explanatory once you're in it. So fill that account out so all your information is there. And once you get your test results back, you'll be able to upload it there and get your QR code. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves yet. But this third step, just create that account, input your flight information, your travel details. I would do that at the same time on the same day that you test, just so you have it and it's ready to go so you can upload everything when you get your test results back. Well, I just want to pause real quick and give a listener shout out on this little quick segment we call Spread Aloha. This listener review comes from Apple Podcasts, and it is from Wildebeesting. I think that's how you pronounce the username. I love the usernames, but I think this is from Wildebeesting. And if I get that wrong, please message me. This review is titled Feeling the Aloha Energy Already. And it goes on to read, I'm going to visit Hawaii for the first time in half a month, and I've been playing this podcast religiously to get travel tips and hear stories of the locals. I can hear kindness and a deep love for Hawaiian culture and the nature from Bryan and the guests. I'm grateful to the team for teaching visitors to respect the people, culture, and environment. Honestly, that is what it's all about. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to leave that rating and review, because that is exactly why we do this program, is exactly that, is to help educate, help prepare, help prep people to visit Hawaii, visit responsibly. Now, more than ever, it is super important to do that. And I really think that people are wanting a more authentic and true experience. And that is really about, first and foremost, being in a posture of respect for the culture and for the land. And that's why we do what we do. So I just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time and spreading aloha, leaving that review. Now back to the steps on how to travel to Hawaii safely. And we are on step 4. And step 4 is upload your negative test results to your Safe Travels account. This is the PDF with the Hawaii state seal. Through the vault, there was a couple different documents that we were able to download, but the one you want to make sure that you upload to your Safe Travels account is the one with the state seal, probably in the top left corner. So upload that one. You're going to want to make sure that it's a negative test result so you don't have to quarantine. After you upload, your result will be verified and your quarantine exempt status will be reflected on your account. For us, it was almost instantaneously. Once we uploaded all of our results, I would say within 5 minutes, we were already given our exemption status. Once you get your exemption status, be sure to print and bring a physical copy of your test results prior to your flight. You will be asked, I guarantee you, to show your test results once you land. That was another confusing thing. You don't show your test results boarding the plane. For example, you land in Honolulu and you get queued up right away. Right after you deplane, you get queued up in this line and you have to show your negative test results, your QR code to the officials there. It takes about, for us, it took about 30 to 40 minutes standing in that line. I guess what was kind of cool, by the time we got the baggage claim, like our bags were already off the turn belt and we're just sitting there. So we didn't have to like wait around for that. So I guess that was kind of a plus. So that is just part of doing the dance, is you're going to have to stand in this line, show your negative test results. So that kind of leads into step 5 is, you need to present your QR code of the test results upon arrival. Results must have already been uploaded to your Safe Travels account, like you mentioned. And also, just backing up a little bit, within 24 hours of departing, you need to make sure you fill out a health questionnaire on your Safe Travels account. So within 24 hours, be sure you do that. You can kind of do that all at the same time. Once you upload your negative test results, you'll get your QR code. And at that same time, go ahead and do the health questionnaire that you also need to fill out within your Safe Travels account. Going back to the QR code thing, keep your QR code of your negative test results handy, because rental car companies will ask for it. The hotel you're staying at will more than likely ask for it. So have it on your phone, but also have it printed out. Have a hard copy just in case. And always have your ID ready, your state issued government ID ready. That's going to be important. And they'll just, kind of save time and hassle kind of going through checking into your rental car and hotel. What was a bummer was we were getting in our car and the gentleman next to us, he had a negative test result, but it wasn't through an approved testing site. So he wasn't able to rent his car. So he had to go into a 10-day quarantine, which was a big bummer. And keep that handy. Keep your logins handy for Safe Travels. Also, just be aware that as you're going to different restaurants, you might be asked to fill out a contact trace form. Don't be alarmed by that. It's kind of like name, email address, phone number. So just be aware that could be a thing. Just have your QR code printed out on your phone, ID ready, your logins for your Safe Travels account. For us, it never logged out, which was kind of cool. So if we needed to show it at the rental car company and at the hotel we were staying at, I didn't have to log back in. I just had the web page on my iPhone already there, and I was just able to bring it up right away. And we didn't have any issues or any problems with that. People were pretty chill. So just keep that in mind. Now, Kauai is kind of its own world right now. They're doing this resort bubble thing. Honestly, that's like a whole episode in itself. I'm curious to see if that's going to be shifting and if Kauai will need to kind of get on board with what the other counties are doing. But as of right now, Kauai is still doing this resort bubble thing. And I call it a thing because there's a lot of different questions around it and how to do it. That's something that we just haven't looked too much into because it's changing so much. If you are planning on traveling to Kauai, go to kauai.gov/COVID-19 and you'll be able to find all the info that you need there. All right. So before we get into the rapid Q&A of frequently asked questions, I would say step 6 would be like a bonus step. And that is a few notes here is to be sure to shop small and support local. We were there. We met up with some friends over in Kailua. There was it's called Aloha Home Market, and that was going on at the time we were there. And we were able to meet up with some friends there, but also meet some new vendors and hear how their businesses are going. So it's important to shop small. I think a lot of people have, no matter where you live, I think that's been a reality is, always supporting local as much as we can. Under this step, this bonus step 6 would be just be respectful and travel with Aloha. You're on vacation. You're going to Hawaii, one of the most beautiful places in the world. So just try to take a few breaths and have a little extra grace because there is this tension of opening this beautiful place responsibly. If you just kind of travel with Aloha, having a little bit of patience, kindness, wherever you go, for the most part, people are so hospitable. And if you just show that same Aloha, you're going to give it right back, probably tenfold. Take wearing your mask seriously, because that is something that Hawaii is serious about. So just know when you're traveling there, no matter, what part of the country that you're traveling from, in Hawaii, they take wearing your mask very serious. So just be mindful of that. And also know that a lot of hotels and a lot of airlines are offering 24-hour cancellation notices. So if you do happen to get a negative test result back, you kind of have that as a, escape hatch to be able to, cancel your flight and hotel. So just be aware of that. Hawaiian Airlines is offering that. The places we were staying, we're offering that. So that's something just to be aware of if that is something that is kind of keeping you on the fence from going ahead and booking a trip. So here are a few rapid Q&A around travel to Hawaii. Question 1 is, I got my COVID-19 vaccination. Am I exempt from quarantine? And the answer to that is presently, proof of vaccination is not a recognized exemption to the Hawaii travel quarantine. Currently, there's talk about a vaccine passport. I'm not exactly sure how I feel on that. I haven't done enough research or asked enough questions to see, but I know that is a thing that is being talked about. Just be aware of that. Will I be responsible for testing cost? Yes, all individuals required to complete pre-travel testing must pay for testing costs. And for us, it costs about $550 for around that, 4 or 5 of us to test. Another one, are adults and minors required to complete pre-travel testing? Adults and minors 5 years of age and older who successfully complete a pre-travel test will not be subject to the state's 10-day quarantine program. Well, I know there's probably hundreds of more questions, and we probably just scratched the surface here. I'm available to answer any of your specific questions. You can email us, contact@hawaiisbesttravel.com, and we'll be sure to answer your questions. To take your love of Hawaii to the next level, we recently started a Facebook group. And you can find that by going to facebook.com/groups/travel to Hawaii. We'll link that in the show notes and request to join. And I'll be sure to let you in and we can talk all things Hawaii over there. And if you made it this far, I would love for you to be like Wilder Beasting and go leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts if that's where you're listening to this. And just takes 2 minutes to do that. And it would mean the world to us because that just helps other people who love Hawaii as much as you be able to find this podcast. So thank you so much for an incredible 50 episodes already on Hawaii's Best. Looking forward to 50 more this year. And until next time, friends, be well. Aloha.
Thanks for listening to Hawaii's Best Travel Podcast. To stay up to date on future episodes, be sure to subscribe. For more information to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii, visit hawaiisbesttravel.com.